winner. Just a few more minutes.
Mr. McCain, can you hear us?
Mr. McCain,
I don't think he's got his audio on.
Mr. McCain.
You may want to call him real quick. 'Cause I don't think he can. Let's see if I can see the chat.
He's looking at it. And you're just looking at that number going, now, who is that? This is Tom in Paradise. Can you hear us? I mean, through here. Can you hear us through here? Hang on a second.
Mr. McCain,
I'll give it to the tech
hey,
person.
when you signed in, did it give you the option to join with audio? Okay, what did you choose for that? Because we can't hear you on this end. If you, are you on your, there should be a, are you on your computer? If you move your mouse over the screen where it shows everybody's face, a toolbar should pop up at the bottom and it, okay.
Mr. Hodges, are you still with us? Mr. Hodges.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. No, sir, we can't. But you're still on video. We can still see you. Right, you're on with your video. We just need you to turn your audio on. What screen are you looking at now? Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you move your mouse up, you should see something that'll say either gallery view or speaker view. All right, move your mouse towards the bottom from where you see live on custom stream service and see if you see a microphone. Yeah, join audio. That's what you're looking for. All right, it's trying to connect now. Let's make sure that it does. If he's listening.
Hey, buddy.
It says it's trying to. You can click on that. Yes. Right. Correct. There should be a microphone and it'll say mute or unmute.
Understand.
Right. There you go. That's it.
Now I can hear you.
We got you.
We got you. All right. Thank you.
All right, I can hang up the phone now.
You can.
Okay.
Hello. Am I speaking to Mr. Hodges?
All right, guys, we'll get started in just another minute. We lost
And
Buddy.
we had lost, and I'm in the meeting with him, this is Tommy Paradise. I was trying to talk to him and I've lost his picture and I've lost his audio. Okay, thank you. We're getting there. About to hand this to you now. Hey, have you got your microphone muted? Can you speak again for me?
He's not
We're
connected.
not getting any audio from you
Or video.
or video. Well, here you go. Let me let you talk to the tech person. Lady that knows.
Hey, Mr. Hodges, how are you? Good. Are you logging in through a smartphone or a computer? Okay, so when you open the Zoom app, you'll need to put in the meeting ID and password, and then you'll need to join with video, and it will ask you to either use device audio or audio via internet, and either one of those will work. All right. Do you have the Zoom app open now? Do you see a video camera or a microphone in the bottom that's red? If you you'll just give me 1 second. I'm gonna remove you from the meeting and I'm just gonna let you rejoin.
Me. What?
Who is that? Is this it open to the public, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, I see you trying to come in.
There he is.
All right, we've got you on video. Via internet.
Hey there. No, we're not hearing you through here.
One second. All right, can you say something one more time for us?
Yeah,
Okay,
I got you.
all right, we've got you going.
okay.
All right, so I'm gonna let Tommy take over then.
I appreciate everybody coming and getting this taken care of for us. First thing I guess we need to do is approve the agenda. And is the commission okay with the agenda? Do we need to make any changes? I have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Any objections?
You need a second and a vote.
I need a second and a vote.
Second.
All in favor?
Raise your hand. Raise your
Thank
hand.
you. Next thing we need is the election of a chair and a vice chair. Does anybody want to serve as a chair? Or any nominations for a chair? Any nominations for a vice chair? How would, if we don't have a chair or a vice chair, how would y'all like to proceed?
Well, Mr. Paradise, this is Tom McCain.
Yes.
Ask again and see if one of those good members would want to step up to be the chair.
Who would like to be the chairperson? Or any nominations for chairperson?
We can nominate Beverly. I saw that.
Yeah, yeah.
Do we have a second?
I'll be more than happy to second that.
Thank you.
All in favor? Or any other nominations? Yeah, so, all in favor of Beverly being chairwoman?
Right.
Any
You'll
opposed?
You'll just help me understand what I need to do. How's that?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Good.
Who's Goldie? She needs to raise her.
Goldie, did you
Oh,
vote
do I?
for or against?
For.
Or, okay.
Because you know what would happen if you voted against.
Now, and who would y'all like to nominate for vice chair?
Goldie Dean.
Beth Worth.
Goldie Dean.
Beth Worth would be great. I'd like to nominate Beth Worth. Thank you.
Do we have, was there a nomination there for Ms. Dean?
No,
It
for
was?
Beth. No,
What did you say, Beth?
I did nominate Goldie Dean.
and I
Is there a
said
second?
I declined.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor, Ms. Dean? Or is there another?
Declined.
Say what?
She's
I declined.
Okay. So who else would want to do it? Or who other else would y'all like to nominate?
Well, I thought
It's
there was a
Beth Worth.
nomination. Yeah, I thought there was a nomination for
Alright.
Beth.
Beth.
Is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second.
All in favor?
Yo,
1, 2.
I don't know if you saw my hand. I put it up fast.
Mr. Hodges, are you in agreement with that? And Beth, are you in agreement with that?
Sure.
yes.
But like Beverly, you'll have to tell me what to do.
All right, Beverly, have you got an agenda in front of you?
I have the minutes open. Problem is I've got it on my phone, so I'll have to be bouncing around a little.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the approval of minutes,
Okay.
and I'll let you take it from there.
So has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes? And everybody's quiet? Do we have a
I'll make a
motion?
motion. I'll
Do we
make a
have-
motion to approve. the minutes.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone second that?
Second.
I'll second.
And then we vote to approve the minutes as written?
Yes.
Okay,
Beth, did
Motion
you
to
raise your
approve.
hand for that? Okay,
It was off camera.
all right.
okay, so on to new business.
Yes, ma'am.
I can read it from here, but I hope you, the consideration of approval of revenue estimates. So
Yes, ma'am. That would be on me. The last time we met, I gave y'all a projection from the Revenue and Fiscal Affairs Office that estimated about $15 million in revenue to be generated over eight years. The Revenue and Fiscal Affairs started out with about 1.6 million the first year, and there was a 4.25% growth factor for every year. On Friday, and I apologize because this is moving fast, and on Friday, we met, and Andrew Marine, the county attorney, is on as well. The county attorney and I met with our bond counsel, our counsel that's helping us through the capital project sales tax ordinance stuff, and also our financial advisor. Our financial advisor recommended, because of the economy, the growth factor, and a whole host of issues, that he recommended only using 66% or 2/3 of the revenue projections that Revenue and Fiscal Affairs had identified. This would put us on the safe side and make sure that we don't come up short at the end of the 8 years. The problem with that is we went from about 15 million to $10,097,269. So unless, the commission wants to go with a different recommendation, the pot of money recommended by our financial advisor isn't the 15 million that I had recommended, or that I had thought that we had, and I apologize for that. but it's actually 10,097,269,000. And I'm open to any questions that y'all might have on that. That's a big change.
One more
So,
time, the
Tom-
number. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Tommy, so if
Go
this,
ahead,
if
Jean.
we receive, thank you. If we receive the revenue in prior to the 8 years, and are able to pay off the bond early,
Mhm.
will that, I know we will of course save, the interest, but my question is, will we then have to still wait in 8 years to renew for a new one? Or can we go ahead and roll a new bond?
We would have to, wait another 8 years, or we'd have to wait to the end of the 8 years. Any revenue in there above that, would go in a fund, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Andrew, would go in a fund that could be used for capital project sales taxes as approved by council. In other words, it could be used to help fund the jail long-term or other projects. The thing, I don't want the commission to misunderstand, the proposal here was that it would take to fully fund the jail. And whenever I talk about jail, I'm now using that synonymous with law enforcement center. The jail would take several capital project sales taxes to pay off without having to put the millage on. How do we do that? Make this big of an investment without hitting up the taxpayers for more taxes out of their pocket in November. And we basically finance it in make payments for 8 years, then renew it for another 7 years, then renew it for another 7 years until it's paid off. If one of those capital project sales taxes didn't pass in the subsequent years, then it would go on the millage for the taxes to pay, property taxes. Did that answer your question, Gina, or maybe more you asked for?
No, that does answer my question. I do have a follow-up question, but I'll wait for a minute.
Mr. Hodges, did you have a question?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Gina?
Has council discussed, I mean, I know that several of the candidates who are running for sheriff have openly talked about the idea of a joint jail with Saluda County. Has that been considered?
It has been. There's several problems with that, or several issues. One is you would need the sheriffs to sign off, and the other is location. Wherever the location is, would have to have sewer, water, and broadband. And it's hard to find a location that would be available to both counties or 3 counties that would do that. Last I've heard, I haven't heard much more out of that. As far as I know, that was an idea that was vetted and is pretty well gone by the wayside. Now, you may know something I don't.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the revenue projections? Okay.
Tommy,
Yes, sir.
I thought that last time we met, there was some discussion about McCormick had already made a move and they wouldn't be considered for a joint effort. So would this be just between Saluda and Edgefield if that came about?
That's not in discussions right now as far as a joint facility. This project would be basically standalone Edgefield County.
Okay.
So I think that is the projections we have. Any other questions? I know this is significantly different from what we started with. Do we want to have a motion and approve those as the what we're working with?
So Tommy, do we have the figures on what the jail will cost?
That's the next, yes, that was going to be the next issue.
Okay.
So Beverly, do you want to have them make a motion and,
Yes.
do that stuff?
Make a motion to accept the estimate, the revised estimates, revenue estimate.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, and all in favor, raise your hand.
Gina, is your hand up?
It was.
Okay, all right. We just wanted to make sure we didn't miss it.
All right. Beverly, the next thing on the agenda is review of project proposals.
Yeah.
And of course, the county jail or the law enforcement center is the sole recommendation from county council. And then that would be about a $29 million project. And I don't know what other projects the towns may have. I would say that the city of North Augusta has requested $50,000 for equipment for the North Augusta Country Club. And I think this is where the town representatives would mention anything that y'all are requesting.
So we start with Edgefield.
Excuse me?
So do we just go through, we start with Edgefield and
Okay. We would like to request $250,000 for recreational improvements, baseball, soccer, girls softball, gym, etc. And $600,000 for downtown improvements like an outdoor market, arbor, streetscapes, pavilion.
Outdoor improvements, and what was the rest of that?
That included like an outdoor market, arbor, streetscapes, pavilion, etc.
anything else, Beth?
No, that's all I have.
And on to Johnston.
Now, Mayor didn't give me a total. It was going by the projection from y'all's last meeting. I thought the funds were going to be divided up. And the thing that he is saying still is Watson Park, which would be like $100,000. I think it's a figure he said today. As well as something else about a building here on Main Street in Johnston, trying to restore it. But he didn't give me a dollar figure.
Okay, we do need dollar figures. And
Okay, well, I'll have to get back to him on that.
Okay. For Trenton, we're requesting $50,000 to improve the town gym and the grounds. So what, then Meriwether? Is that the other, tell me the other categories. The towns were easy.
That would be it. No, okay, North
Okay.
Augustus, yeah.
Okay.
All right, now, yeah, the countywide would be the 29 million for the jail, or actually, and I didn't add it up. Listen to me. Okay. Now here's the going back to the jail and that, or the law enforcement center.
Okay, we can't hear you, Tommy.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
All right. $29 million for law enforcement center. Over 20 years at $29 million. The payment would be about $1.9 million a year, or over the 20 years, excuse me, or over that 8-year cycle, payments at 3% over 20 years would be about 15.4 million. So that is more than what we would have. At 29 million at 3% for 25 years would be about 13.2 million. And at 29 million at 2.5% for 20 years be 14.7, and 29 million at 2.5% for 25 years would be about 12.4. And we have 10. So looking at the revenues anticipated each year, the county will have to come up with some additional funds somewhere just to do the law enforcement center. And that's why the 10 million going from the 15 to the 10 really hurt. And I have 2 council members that said it's law enforcement center is their #1 priority. So having said that, I wanted, Madam Chairman, I kind of giving you some dark estimates there and some that I didn't know about until earlier today, and how the commission may want to move forward on this with that new information.
So I think what you're telling us is we make a motion to just simply vote on the law enforcement center and leave the other town projects off. Or we make a motion to add it all up, and I mean, knowing that we don't have enough money, or we should not have enough money to do it.
I would not vote on spending money that you're not anticipating receiving.
Right.
I'd like to ask a question. Do you think that waiting in, like, 'cause the last time we talked, we were gonna wait, I think. Do you think waiting until 2022 would change things for us with the economy being better?
The economy may change up or down. The question is will the state hold off for 2 years on us moving forward with the law enforcement center? And the cost of construction goes up about $500,000 a year according to our architects. that is something for the commission to consider. Do you want to recommend that to council that we not move forward at this time? Do you want to pause and come back and meet about this later, given the fact that, and I hate to say it this way, but I've kind of blindsided you this evening. And I don't mean to do that, but the pot is not as large as we anticipated it was when we started this process. If you wait 2 years, it does give us longer time to develop the projects. I don't know that it would increase the amount of revenue significantly though. It's all in how much growth, how much spending are we gonna have in Edgefield County? It's not a matter of building more, an increased population should generate more spending. But then again, where's that population spending their money at? And if they're going to Augusta, North Augusta, and Aiken, and Greenwood, we're not collecting it here. But that's certainly an option for the commission.
Can I just mention, please, that we are at an all-time low on interest rates. And I know we're in dire need of a law enforcement center. That is a given. I have seen it firsthand. I know how badly it needs to be replaced. What I would like to, if I could at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and approve for the law enforcement center only, and wait till another time to look at any other pet projects. But at this time, we definitely need the law enforcement center, and it is at a rate that we have not seen before, at an interest rate, and we may not see again.
Tommy, did you add up all the, I didn't add them, the town projects? What was that difference?
I got $1,050,000 if I did it right.
Okay,
That's right at $1 million.
okay.
But I think you have a motion on the table, Ms. Chairman.
Right, is there any other discussion on this or a second to that motion? Yeah.
Well, before you second it, I know from what I've been told, they want more than, the town of Johnston wants more than just contributing toward the enforcement center. So,
So
because we
you-
were thinking projects were going to be included.
So you said you would not second it?
Beverly.
I need to talk back to the mayor. From the understanding I had for the town council, that was not the way they wanted to go.
Beverly,
Yes,
before you have discussion, we need a second on the motion.
sorry.
That's all right. I'm just trying to be helpful.
Well, no, you got to keep me straight. I don't know this.
I second the motion.
So,
And I have a question.
Okay.
For
Go
Tommy.
ahead.
Tommy, if the commission, this is a hypothetical, were to decide that they wanted these special projects in addition to the law enforcement, and then sent that proposal to the council and they rejected it, are they going to then turn and do the law enforcement center through the property tax?
They certainly have that option.
Huh?
They certainly have that option.
I mean, my understanding that this law enforcement center is, I don't know if I want to use the word mandate, but it certainly is a overwhelming and compelling need that cannot be denied. We've got forces from the powers to be that are putting pressure on this. I just wonder if we're forcing it into the property tax if we were to walk away from sales tax.
And that is, to be quite honest, what we have been trying to do away with, to get away from. Somewhere, and I don't know where I got this, I've got to drill down and get my figures a little bit better. But somewhere I get the number 20% in the penny sales tax that comes from non-county residents. So that's a little bit, that's about $5.8 million out of 29 million. That wouldn't come out of our Edgefield County residents' pocket. So, but yes, if this didn't pass, county council would certainly have the option of doing a lease purchase bond to purchase a law enforcement center. And that would go on the property tax roll.
So another question, if the estimate is low, okay, say if a miracle happens, we end up with more money, would that all go towards the jail, the surplus over the 8 years?
That would, and correct me if I'm Andrew, but the way I understand that, then county council could use that for capital projects, including the jail or other capital projects. And Andrew, is that correct?
But they wouldn't be doing away with the penny sales tax.
Excuse me?
They wouldn't be doing away with the penny sales tax paying off early or anything. But yes, they would. It's my understanding they'd be able to use it for other projects.
And so at that
we can-
point, the towns could have input into what those other projects are. See where I'm kind of going here, that
Correct.
if
But could projects be listed? And if there's extra money, they go towards that maybe.
Andrew?
I'm not sure how we phrase that because I haven't seen that mentioned anywhere in the paperwork we have, how you set the priorities. I'm not sure if it's priority by where it is in the question. I think my experience with Aiken is sort of based on where it is in the question. If the jail's first, that's going to be the first funds. Now, I think if they break down by the cities, it's how the income comes into the cities. You following me, Tommy?
Yeah. Did that answer?
Did I answer your question?
I think so. So it sounds like there may be an option to, if we feel like we would not get it passed, and they wouldn't pass through the council with all the town's projects added on, but if we say this is what we would like any surplus to go to, then if the estimate is low, okay, then we would have that option to make the improvements, the other improvements.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Tommy, but I think that's my interpretation.
That is mine as well. But I want to be clear. I don't want to put something on the ballot and mislead anybody. I remember we've got 10 million, and right now the best case scenario for the law enforcement center over that same period of time is about 12 million. So I don't know that there's going to be extra funds there. Well, unless you anything over 10 million would go to other projects. Yes.
Because in our proposal, we'll have the amount of the cost on the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
Refresh me, is there a motion on the floor?
There is.
Okay.
And a second.
Yeah.
And this is the discussion. And the motion, I believe, was only to do the law enforcement center.
Yes.
only.
So then could we make a second motion to look at the law enforcement center as the primary spending, and then any extra would go to the list developed from the towns? That reasonable? Am I saying that right?
You could either vote on this motion and then have that motion, or you can have a friendly amendment to the motion, you know, as an addition, as long as the seconder agrees. You follow?
Yeah, so kind of like having your cake and eating it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point, then, is there any other discussion on the motion that we have on the table that's been seconded? Nothing, so we're ready to vote?
That would be next.
Okay, so all in favor?
Either raise hand or voice, whichever.
In favor.
In favor?
In favor.
And I
In
think I'm in favor as well, yeah.
Mr. Kane, did you vote for or against?
We need to do this by hand because you can't.
Yep.
Okay.
Or you can call a roll.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
So Tommy, you'll call roll or do I need to?
I got, you want me to? I got
Please.
this. All right.
Please.
Beth, how do you vote?
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
how do you vote? Ms. Dean, how do you vote?
It's a tough one.
Yes, no, or abstain.
Abstain, how about that?
Mr. Hodges,
Yes.
Gina,
Yes.
you just disappeared. And there you go. Mr. McCain?
Yes.
5 with 1 abstention. All right, so the next item is the question for the ballot, I believe.
Right, the draft of the ballot and question for legal review.
And Andrew,
Yes. Keep in mind, I do not have an agenda or any exhibits.
you don't have the
I have
referendum?
what Franny sent us this morning.
That's what I was talking about.
Okay.
You want to go over this with them since this is a legal matter?
Okay. Basically, our council in Columbia has given us 4 options on the wording of the question. And I'm assuming you have copies of them from you. Is that right? Correct,
I
Tom?
don't think I did.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
I just got
Okay.
these this morning.
Okay. Our council gave us 4 options of how to ask the question. And basically, they're really just 2 questions, and there's slightly different forms for the same 2 questions. One is whether the funds should be used, a portion of these funds used for the acquisition, construction, equipping of a new county detention center, including land acquisition. Or do we phrase as a portion of the acquisition, construction, equipping of a new law enforcement center with detention facilities, including land acquisition? The law enforcement center would, of course, the detention center is basically a jail. The law enforcement center would also have, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Tommy, courthouse facilities for hearings, things like that. And
Correct.
the law enforcement center would be the more expensive option over the long term, because it's going to contain more. And so those are the two differences. Then the reason we have 4 is just how the cost is listed on the ballot, whether it's, and all this is for a portion of the acquisition, construction, or equipping. The difference just in the form, whether you have the cost just over to one side or whether you have this part of the question. I think from my ring of statutes, Tommy, I'm looking at option 3 or 4. And that's how he can phrase things.
And since the motion, and correct me if I'm wrong, Gina, since you were the motion maker, but I think the motion was for a law enforcement center, not just for a detention center. Was that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay.
So
If that's the case,
that'd be
then
number 4.
then what I would recommend is option number 4. And I'm going to read, since you don't have it in front of you, I'm going to read the whole thing to you. Must a 1% sales tax and use tax be imposed in Edgefield County, South Carolina, for not more than 8 years from the date of imposition to raise the amount specified for the following purposes? X number of dollars for a portion of the acquisition, construction, and equipping of a new law enforcement center with detention facilities, including land acquisition. So that would be the option I'd be recommending. We do have to fill in the blank as to how much the portion is, whether we're saying 15 million.
No, we'd be saying 10 million.
10,975,000. I'm sorry. Okay. So do you have any questions about the option I just read, or do you need me to reread it?
I'm good.
Okay. So I guess we will need a motion regarding the referendum question
Beverly?
as presented,
Yeah, so is there a motion?
to accept the option that I just read.
Or do y'all have any questions or concerns before we get to that? Now they might want to do that before.
Yeah, Tommy. I was just thinking, county council should really give us a little more guidance. Have they entertained this question themselves?
Yes,
Had the question been before county council?
the question has been before county council 3 separate times. And the last time it was, and there were several options put before county council. And county council said, yes, we want law enforcement center. That's what we want on the ballot. That's where we want all the money to go to. Now, they are not aware, and the difference in the revenue projections of last week versus this week. But before they will pass this as an ordinance to go on the ballot, they will be fully aware of that.
And this will have to go through the 3 readings, correct?
Yes, ma'am, and a public hearing. So if y'all are ready for a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Yep. Is there a motion to accept the wording for the ballot as read by Andrew?
So moved.
Second.
Is there a second? Okay. And then do we want to do another roll call for voting?
You have discussion first.
Oh, sorry. I know, I'm not paying attention.
So at what point could we add the amendment that if there's any overage in money, that it would go to the town projects?
That would need to be put in this question.
Yes.
And Andrew, that's more of a legal question for you.
Yeah, because we really have the motion on this, which is just for the jail. Because if we want the question to have all the other things, and we really need to revisit that, which, you know, we already had the motion just on the law enforcement center previously. So it's sort of reopening.
Now, I think there was discussion of if there's overage,
Yeah,
where will that overage go? And that would be decided, and correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, decided at the time there is an overage. When you know how much that is, and then that would come to county council, and the towns could seek to have funding out of that from the overages.
so that would be really outside the capital sales tax issue. It's just there's the overage there for use.
What, Andrew, and this is a question
Yeah.
for you, is basically, is the question before the commission how to spend the $10,097,269?
That's what we have in front of us is that option. Am I following you?
Is that the role, is that basically the role of the commission, and any overages would come at a later time? Any issues?
I honestly can't give you a clear answer just because I've not researched that or looked at that. That would be talking to the Columbia Council if there's an overage. I don't know how other councils have handled an overage.
Let me see.
Because, and do you have Franny's number?
That's what I was looking for.
Just a second.
That's the one email I did not bring.
Just a second. I can get it for you. Okay, you ready?
Well, why don't you call her?
Okay, I'm on my iPhone now. I'm calling her on landline.
All right.
I need to go.
No.
Yeah, please.
Andrew, do you want to be muted while you're talking?
Yes,
to her?
please. Yes, I'll wave when I need to be unmuted.
Okay.
Got tired outside.
It was cold. It's starting to get chilly, and I have on long sleeves.
Our bond counsel did give us her home phone number. So that's who Andrew's calling now. And she's familiar with all of these things. She's the one that's writing the ordinance for us and guiding us through it. He'll be back. There he is.
Okay, I just spoke to our council and you have a couple options. Either you can say that if there are any excess funds, it's being used to complete the one project we have, meaning the law enforcement center. Or we can have on the ballot the other projects with language stating that these projects will be funded only if, the initial project, all the funds are received for that. So basically, we're saying 10 million towards the law enforcement center. If we take the second option, we'll have the other projects on there, but language stating that they will be funded only if there's excess proceeds.
And would that go by their way they're listed?
I think we'd go by the way they're listed, but we would have to have some language to that effect to make it clear to the voters.
So, and this comes back to you, Andrew.
Yes.
But if the commission wanted to do that, wouldn't somebody that voted for?
I think somebody vote for can bring it back up. Which would be everybody except the lady that abstained.
Yeah, and I think we lost Buddy.
We did.
Well, let me see what we can do.
I was hoping he would pop back on real quick.
Hey, buddy. Tommy Paradise. Oh, I hate it when that happens. Okay. Let me, hang on just a second. Andrew.
Yes.
Mr. Hodges' cell phone has overheated and shut him down.
Okay.
Could I put him on speaker?
As long as you can hear me.
Do that with the system,
Huh? Why not?
because when he talks in there, it's gonna play back and it's gonna be a repeating loop.
Okay,
It's gonna pick up that echo.
all right. Do you have another computer or something, Mr. Hodges? All right. All right, thank you. Bye. He is getting his iPad.
Tommy, just so you know, the code section is 410-340C.
And that's about what's that for, Andrew?
Oh, I'm just giving you the code citation if you need it.
For
Basically what happens to the excess funds.
gotcha.
The code states amounts collected in excess of the required net proceeds must first be applied if necessary to complete the project for which the tax was imposed. If funds still remain after the first using of the funds as described in 9.1 and taxes reimposed, remaining funds must be used to fund projects approved by the voters in the referendum to reimpose the tax in priority order as the projects appear in the enacting ordinance.
That's what's on YouTube there. Hey, look at there.
All right, Mr. Hodges, can you hear us?
I'm good.
All right.
Okay.
All right, Andrew, would you go back over?
What you missed, Mr. Hodges, I spoke to our Columbia Council, and the question about, the listing of priorities and everything, basically the question on the ballot can be one of two ways. Either we have the just the law enforcement center on the ballot. If there's any excess funds, that would go towards the law enforcement center. Or we can have on the ballot the law enforcement center plus other projects listed in priority. And we would have language in the referendum that those projects would not get funded until the law enforcement center was funded for the amount that's on the ballot.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Now, I do want to mention that based on the projections that we have, we're coming up short on the law enforcement center as it is. So if we want to put other projects, or if the commission wants to put other projects on there, that's fine. But just so you know that going in.
So at this point, we would need a motion from someone who voted yes.
Well, refresh me. Do we still have a motion on the floor?
Yes, for option 4.
Okay.
Is that
So-
on the floor or were you? Oh, the wording of it, the wording of it.
The wording,
Gotcha.
which
The
I'm
motion
trying,
were made to accept the wording for option number 4 as Andrew read it.
Mhm.
So they would have to withdraw that and then reopen this.
so is the wish to move forward the motion or to withdraw the motion?
Who made the motion?
Mr. Hodges.
Mr. Hodges, you made the motion.
I moved to move forward.
All right, sir.
So she
Good.
needs to call for it.
Mr. Chairman? Beverly?
And so we had a second. I'm sorry, I didn't hear, couldn't hear.
Mr. Hyatt, they do not wish to withdraw or.
Withdraw it.
Second?
Ms. Black.
So is there any more discussion then, right? Because we had a motion and a second.
If not, it'd be time to vote.
Time to vote. So do you want to do it by roll call or?
Yeah, I can do that by roll call.
Okay.
Ms. Worth? Beth, how do you vote?
Well, I have a question. Can I have a question?
Dan?
No, yeah.
Okay. So what about the amendment? We can't do that, or, I mean, that's not done at this time?
Well, the commission voted to fund the law enforcement center. That was the only project that was approved there. Now we moved
Okay.
down to the question. You don't put a question to fund something that you didn't approve above that. So this has been a motion and a second. So the action needs to be taken on this before you could go back and open the other one up. And then you would have to come back and open this one up. Have I got that correct,
Yeah.
Andrew?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're voting on the law enforcement center name.
The language,
The
The
question,
wording for the ordinance, right?
the language for the ordinance.
and let me read that again because it's been a while since we talked about it. And the question would read, must a special 1% sales and use tax be imposed in Edgefield County, South Carolina County for not more than 8 years from the date of imposition to raise the amount specified for the following purposes: $10,097,269 for a portion of the acquisition, construction, and equipping of a new law enforcement center with detention facilities, including land acquisition. And that's the question. You're either voting yes or no.
Yes.
All right. Beth, what was your vote?
Yes.
Okay. Beverly,
Yes.
Goldie,
Yes.
Mr. Hodges,
Yes.
Ms. Blackwell,
Yes.
and Mr. McCain.
Yes.
And is there any other business, Madam Chair Lady? No other business, it'd be time for an adjournment or whatever action y'all deem appropriate. We're at the end of the agenda.
Right. And there's a train coming. And I live close to the railroad tracks, so sorry.
Good.
Yep. So at this point, I can ask if there's anything else that anyone wants to bring up, but we already approved the agenda, so I don't know.
Well, is there anything else anybody has?
Yeah, is there anything else?
I would like for us to be able to vote to add the towns. I think it would be easier to get people to vote for something if they could see something in their own towns other than just the jail, although the jail is very important.
Mhm.
We basically already voted on everything.
At
Okay, I
this,
thought you said we could amend.
well, at this point, I think you either make a motion to reconsider
Yeah.
the projects or you move for an adjournment. And somebody that voted in the affirmative would have to ask to go back and open that question up again.
So is there a motion to revisit the projects?
I would like to make a motion to revisit the projects.
Okay. Is there a second? And I can second it, right?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am, if you like.
Okay.
Now we'd have a vote or any
Yeah,
discussion.
Any discussion? But does this
So
mean
what-
that,
What is the motion, to have discussion or to add projects?
I think it's to revisit the projects where we could add the amendment. Is that right, Beth?
Yes. Yes.
Are you saying that for a future meeting or for this meeting right now?
Well, I thought it was for this meeting right now.
Okay.
We've got a first and a second.
And is there any discussion? And my question is, if Goldie abstained from the original vote, is she allowed to vote in this round?
She can vote yes.
Okay.
Or
I have a comment, I guess. What in reference to what Beth stated, it will probably be hard to get people to go along if the projects for their towns, they're not included at some place.
Beverly, you ready for the vote or?
I think so, if there's no other discussion. So you'll do a roll call again?
Yeah. Beth,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Goldie,
Yes.
Buddy,
No.
Gina,
No,
Mr. McCain.
No.
All right, Andrew, what's
We're
your,
split, so the motion does not pass. It would be the
Okay.
status quo.
so we don't revisit, correct?
Right. Right, the action's not taken.
Is there any other action? Beverly?
I was waiting to hear if anybody had anything else. So if there's nothing else, then I think we're adjourned. The
You need a
motion goes
motion.
forward.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I move we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
And all in favor? Raise your hand.
I think we can raise your hand on this one. Yeah. I do want to say thank y'all all for y'all's help and consideration through all of this. And I'm sure we will be in touch in the next few weeks as well. Y'all have done a lot of work in one night. Thank y'all.
All right.
Thank you.
Tommy,
Yes, sir.
remember now, we are working for county council, and they need to give us some guidance as to what good for them. Otherwise, we can do all this work, and if they turn it down, then you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand.
So you need to run all of these figures and projects by them, so they would be in supportive of what they get.
Gotcha.
Okay.
We're out of here.
Bye.
Okay.